Hi, this is Melise of Rollo Cubing, and today I'm going to teach you how to solve the mirror cube. The mirror cube looks pretty crazy once it's scrambled, but what one needs to know about the mirror cube is that it solves exactly the same way as the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. And so the important thing though is that you have to be very good at solving the 3x3 before you can really bother attempting to solve the mirror cube. Once you know how to solve the 3x3 in a very consistent way, then you're ready to solve the mirror cube. In fact, if you've studied my 3x3 videos, that would be best because my 3x3 8-step method that I use for the 3x3 is the exact same method I'm going to use here with the mirror cube. So the thing to know about the mirror cube is that in place of the colors that you normally see on a Rubik's Cube, in place of those colors, we have heights of pieces. So for example, today we are going to consider the short pieces, what we see here, these short pieces on this top layer, that this is going to be the white layer. And so, and then if you flip the white, we always have yellow on the opposite side. So on this cube, on the mirror cube, we're going to have the yellow pieces be the very tallest pieces like we see here. So that's what we're going to need to know today. The other colors that you see on a cube, you know, the blue, red, green, and orange, we don't need to worry too much about. Just know that those pieces all have different heights as well, but we don't really need to assign a color to each of these heights, but just know that it's these various heights that are determining all 6 colors on the cube. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and solve the mirror cube using the exact same 8-step method that I use in the 3x3, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, I have scrambled our mirror cube, and now we can get going with the first step, which is to create the daisy. As we know from the 8-step process that I use in solving the 3x3, what we're trying to do here with the first step, creating the daisy, is to put the 4 white edge pieces around the yellow center. And so as I was saying in the introduction, what we first need to do is figure out which is the tallest centerpiece, is that it's going to be the yellow center of our daisy. So if you look around the cube, you can look at these centerpieces, and if they are shorter than any other pieces, then you know they are not the tallest piece, and so they can't be the yellow. So this one's too short. This one is also too short. You can see this piece is taller than the center. So look around. This one's too short. This one's too short. So this one's looking like it's tall. It's jutting above all the rest. And so then what you can do to test to make sure that it's indeed, well, no, that one's not. So to test to make sure this is indeed the tallest is rotate the sides around it and see if anything is taller. Like this is flush, and so that's okay, it's not taller. Rotate a few more times to test it, and so this looks like it's indeed the tallest centerpiece. So this is going to be our yellow centerpiece, and that's going to become the center of our daisy. And next what we're going to do is look for the white pieces, and we had said the white pieces are going to be the shortest pieces, so they are the ones that are this tall, and like you could even get out a ruler and take a look, and you can see that these are pieces that are only about like half a centimeter tall. So we're looking for these pieces that are the shallowest little half centimeter pieces, so pieces like this. So we're going to go ahead and look for all those short pieces, and we're looking for ones that are on the edge. So like this is an edge piece here. This is also another edge piece, so is this. So what we want to do is we want to bring those around our tallest centerpiece, which is up here. So let's go ahead, and we can see that this piece is actually already placed where we want it. This is a short, what we're calling white piece, and it's centered around the yellow center. So that's the first petal of our daisy. Now let's look for another one. Here's another short one here, and what we can do is we can rotate it off to the side because we don't want to we can place it above it by doing a 180-degree rotation. So we could use a piece up here, so let's do this 180-degree rotation, and now we've placed that petal around the yellow center. So then let's keep looking around for some other edge pieces. Here's another shallow white edge piece, and so what we want to do is rotate it into place, and you can see if you rotated it this way, you actually are placing it on its side, and we want it to be in the shallowest orientation. So instead, what we want to do is bring it over here, and then you can rotate it into place, and it'll be in the shallow orientation like so. Okay, and then let's look for our final edge piece. And where is it? Okay, it's right here. So here's the edge piece. Now we could see that we need to actually bring it to be over here. And so what we want to do is, we don't want to rotate it this way because then it'd be standing up on its end. So instead rotate it this way, and then you can rotate it into place. And it is now, oops, there we go. And it is now standing on its, in the way that it's the shortest orientation. So now you can see we've put these, what we're calling the 4 white petals, around the tall yellow centerpiece, and we have created our daisy. Okay, now we're ready for step 2, which is making the white cross. And as with the regular 3x3, what we're trying to do is make this white cross that where the white cross is oriented so that it aligns with each of the center colors. And so the way you do that here is the exact same methodology, but what we're going to do is we're going to line up our white petals so that they align and are exactly flush with the centerpiece. So what you do here is you rotate the middle so that that centerpiece aligns perfectly so it's flush with this white petal. So here's one where now it's flush, and once you've got that, then you can just rotate it 180 degrees, putting that onto the bottom, and that's going to become the white cross on the bottom. So now go over to the next white petal, and we're going to again rotate the middle until we find the centerpiece that is flush, and here this is flush with the white petal, and then do a 180 degree rotation to bring it to the bottom. Rotate it to the next petal. This one's already flush, so we can go ahead and rotate that down with a 180 degree rotation. And then our final petal, we're going to rotate the centers until we find one that's flush. Here it is. This is flush. Do a 180 degree rotation. And if we flip it over, we can see that we have created the white cross. And you can see we've got this nice cross that's all flush on the top, and that it's flush with each of the centers below. So we're finished with the white cross. Okay, we are now ready for step 3, which is to place the white corners around the white cross, and this will complete our white layer. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to look for the skinny pieces like this type, and we're going to want to orient them properly around the 4 corners here around the white cross. And so it's going to end up looking like this. You know, it's a similar idea where we're trying to complete the white layer. So let's go ahead, and I like to work with pieces that are already on the bottom. And so here's a skinny piece that's on the bottom. And so then what we want to do is find where it fits. So if you rotate around the cube, you can see like this piece is not going to fit here. So we want to rotate it over to the side where it may fit. And so it doesn't seem to fit here. So you keep rotating until you find a place where it looks like it's going to fit nicely. And sometimes you'll have to reorient it if you can't find a place where it would fit. But if you look here, this piece will fit right over here. You can see it's kind of the same width as this piece. And so this looks like if we bring this piece up here, it's going to fit nicely. So remembering the way we place white corners, we want to bring this piece up here. So what we want to do is move it away from where we're trying to go, bring down this slot we're trying to fill, bring our piece back, and then you can see how this aligns all nicely. So we have picked the right place to put that piece. Rotate this into place, and we've restored our white cross, and you can see we've placed that corner where it needs to be, and it fits in there nicely. So now let's go around and let's look again on the bottom layer and see if we can find another skinny white piece. Here's one. So now this time, this piece is actually not oriented the way we need it. So when it's shallow like this, we actually need to make it so it's jutting downward, so it's in its longer format. So to do that, if you remember from the 3x3, what we need to do is basically flip this piece over, and we can do that by rotating down this face swiveling the bottom 180 degrees, 1, 2. So now here's our piece. Now it's facing the way we need it. Bring this back up to restore our white cross. And now we can work with this piece now that it's oriented in its taller format. So let's see where this piece might go. If we rotate over here, you can look at this piece and it's like, you can look at this and you can see, well, this piece would probably fit right about here. So we do need a piece that's sort of that same size and shape to fit right here. So looks like this is the right place. Let's go ahead and move it away from where we're trying to go. So move it over to the right here. Bring down the slot we're trying to fill. Bring our piece back. Then you can see that that does align nicely with this other piece. Rotate it into place, restoring our cross, and now we have placed that white corner. Okay, so let's keep going around and look for some other skinny corner pieces. So here's one. This is a skinny piece. It's up on the top, but it's oriented improperly. So what we do there is, if you remember from the 3x3, is we're going to do a rotation of the face, like so, bringing this piece down to the bottom layer. Then we're going to want to move it out of the way for a second. So let's move it off to the side. And then we can restore our cross by bringing this piece back up. So now you can see we got our white cross back. And now we can work with this piece. So let's see, let's rotate it to where we need it. And you can see this piece should fit in here nicely. So we're going to want to put this corner piece up here. So move it away from where we're trying to go. Bring down the slot we're trying to fill. Move our piece back into place. These all align nicely. Let's rotate those up into place. And we have lined our cross again and placed that corner. Now let's look for the final white corner piece. Here it is. Let's rotate it under where it needs to go. And then you can see that this actually is lined up nicely where it looks like this piece should fit in here nicely once we rotate it into place. So let's move it away from where we're trying to go. Bring down the slot we're trying to fill. Bring our piece back. These all align nicely, rotate them into place. And you can see we've placed all 4 of our white corners around our white cross, and we have solved the white or shallow, what's the shallowest layer here. So we've solved the white layer of the mirror cube. Okay, now we're ready for step 4, which is to complete the second layer. And so what we're going to do is similar to what we do in the 3x3. We're going to be placing the side pieces here so that we can complete the second layer. So what we do on the mirror cube is we're going to be looking for pieces down on this bottom layer that are not yellow. And as we recall, yellow pieces are the tallest pieces. So for example, you can see this piece is really tall. This is actually a yellow piece. So this is not the kind of piece we're going to want to place on these sides. So let's look around our cube, and this piece looks like it's, it's not too tall. So this is probably a non-yellow piece. And then what we want to do is we want to align this piece with the center so that it's flush. So let's rotate it around until we find where it's flush. And so here it's flush with this piece. And then we look at this and we can see that this piece is wider than it is tall. So that means that it's going to belong over here on where this is the shorter side of the cube. You can see this is like shorter than that side. And so we're going to want to put this piece over here. And so then as we recall how to do that is we're going to move it away from where we're trying to go, which is here. So move it away. We're going to bring down this slot we're trying to fill. We're going to bring our piece back, realigning it with the center. We're going to rotate this into place to restore our cross. And then we're going to place this white edge piece in the normal manner to put it back into place. So move it away from where it's trying to go, bring down the slot it's trying to fill, move the piece back. We've now got this all aligned, rotated into place, and we've replaced that corner and we've put in that edge piece where it needs to go. So that is a good edge. So then we're going to go looking around the bottom, looking again for non-yellow pieces. So here's another non-yellow piece. You can see that it already aligns nicely with this center piece, so it's not too tall, so it's not a yellow piece. And this time it's a piece that's taller than it is wide. So that means it's going to go over here on the taller side, this side over here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move it away from where it's trying to go, which is here. So move it away, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, move our piece back into place. So here it's back aligned with the center. Then we're going to move our cross back into place, restoring that. And then we're going to place this white corner back up where it belongs. So we're going to move it away from where we're trying to go, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, bring this piece back, move this column back into place, restoring that corner while also placing that piece into place. So then we're going to keep going around our cube looking for non-yellow pieces. So this one, you can see, is very tall, so that's a yellow piece. This piece is very tall, that's a yellow piece. This piece, though, is a nice short piece, so it's not yellow, and it's already flush with the center, so that's good. So that's where we want it right now. And because this piece is wider than it is tall, it means we want to put it over here. And so, we want to put it over here. So we want to put it on the shorter side. And so we're going to go ahead and move it away from where we're trying to go, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, bring our piece back, realigning this with the center, move this back up into place to restore our cross, and then place our white corner piece like we normally do, which is move it away from where you're trying to go, bring down the slot you're trying to fill, bring the piece back, move that column back into place, and you can see we've placed that corner back and we've placed that edge piece. Okay, so we keep going around, and now what we have is the situation where all these pieces are yellow on the bottom because these are all tall pieces. And so the situation we have is that this piece is actually inverted. We need to kick this piece out and reorient it and place it again. So to kick it out, we're just going to go ahead and place this tall yellow piece. So we're going to move away from where we're trying to go, bring this piece down, bring our piece back, move our column back into place, place that white corner piece again by moving away, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, bring our white piece back. This is all flush, bring that into place. And now we've put that yellow piece in here as a temporary state. But now we've kicked out the good piece, which is over here. So this is a non-tall piece, so we can go ahead and reorient it to align with its center color. So it's flush with this color. We can see that it's wider than it is tall, so that means it's going to go over here on the short side. So we're going to move it away from where we're trying to go, which is here, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, bring our piece back, realigning with the center, move this back into place to restore our cross, and then place this white corner piece in our usual way, which is to move it away from where we're trying to go, bring down the slot we're trying to fill, bring our piece back, rotate this column into place, restoring our cross as well as that corner, and placing that edge piece. So now you can see we've actually completed the second layer of our mirror cube. Okay, now we are on to step 5 of solving our mirror cube, which is to create the yellow cross. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to flip over our cube, and this is the yellow side. You can see this is the tallest yellow piece. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through that method to build the yellow cross where we start out with a dot, or sometimes this is the earliest step where you may have a dot. Then we're going to go from a dot to having an L to having a line, and then finally the yellow cross. And we're going to use that face clock algorithm so that you recall from the 3x3. So holding your cube any which way, because we only have the dot, you can rotate it any which way. We're going to do that face clock algorithm. So we're going to rotate the face clockwise, bring up the right side, rotate the top clockwise, bring down the right side, rotate the top counterclockwise, realigning these pieces that are now all flush, and then put those into place. And you can see we've made the yellow L. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do that same algorithm, but this time with the L, we're going to have one of the legs of the L pointing towards us and one pointing to the right. Holding it that way, we're going to do that face clock algorithm again. So turn the face clockwise, bring up the right side, turn the top clockwise, bring down the right side, turn the top counterclockwise. These pieces are all flush, bring those down into place. And then you can see that we've created the yellow line. And then with the yellow line, we want to hold it so it's horizontal to us, and then we're going to do that face clock algorithm again. Turn the face clockwise, bring up the right side, turn the top clockwise, bring down the right side, turn the top counterclockwise, aligning these pieces so they're flush, bring those down, and then look above and you can see we have created the yellow cross. Okay, now we are ready for step 6, which is aligning the T's. And with our 3x3, you can remember that the T, what we mean by the T's is that we're trying to get it so that we can see a T, a letter T on all 4 of these faces here, the non-yellow, non-white faces. So that's what we mean by aligning the T's. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our yellow cross, and we recall that when you have the yellow cross, we are trying to align it with these centers so that you have at least 2 that are lined up. You can always get at least 2 of these pieces to be lined up. And so you can rotate it around, and it may look like you have nothing lined up. Like right now, none of these faces are aligned, so it looks like you've got 0, but you can always get at least 2 of these pieces lined up with the centers, and here by lined up they'll be flush. And so keep rotating your top, your yellow cross, around until you can line it up with at least 2 of the centers. So if we keep rotating, okay, here we see this now is flush, so let's see, that one's not, but this one's flush. Okay, so we've got the situation where we've got the one in the front is flush and the one in the back is flush. And when we have that, what you want to do is hold a good one in the front and the other good one in the back. And then we're going to do our algorithm that we call the right 180 algorithm. So that goes like this. You bring up the right side, you turn the top 180 degrees, 1, 2. You bring down the right side, then you bring back the top counterclockwise once, bring up the right side again, bring back the top counterclockwise once more, realigning all these pieces so they're flush, put those back into place, and then look up above, and you could align your T's as you have to to align these with the centers. And then you can see that right now this is aligned, that's not, and this is. So we've got 2 now adjacent to each other aligned, which is what we want. And when you've got that, you put a good side on the left and a good side in the back, and then you're going to do that right 180 algorithm again, and this should align our T's. So bring up the right side, turn the top 180 degrees, 1, 2, bring down the right side, turn the top back counterclockwise, bring up the right side, turn the top counterclockwise once more, realigning these pieces so they're flush, bring those back down into place, and then rotate the top so that you align the centers as best you can. And so now you can see this is flush, this is flush, this is flush, this is flush. So we have aligned the T's. You can see that we have these letter T's on all 4 of these faces. And so we have completed step 6. Okay, now we are ready for step 7 of solving the mirror cube. And as you recall, in step 7 in the 3x3, what we're trying to do is get the right colors in each of the corners. And so you could have it perfectly right where you've got, the corner exactly the way it needs to be oriented, like this one where we've got the green and orange, but it's got the yellow on top just like we need it. Or else you just have the right colors, so like red and green in the corner, or blue and red in the corner. So when you have that, then you know that you place the corners in the right spot, and that's what we're trying to do in step 7. But in the mirror cube, because we don't have colors and we have sizes, what we're trying to do is find the right size block to fit the slot that it's sitting in. And so like if you look at this cube, you can see this cube is way too big for the slot that it's sitting in. And this one is also way too big for the slot it's fitting in. And whereas this cube is too small, this block is too small for the slot it's sitting in, and this one is also too small. And if you recall from our 3x3, you have the situation at this step where either 0 of the colors or sizes are right, or 1 is right, or all 4 is right. So right now we've got the situation where 0 are right. And so when that happens, we can hold it any direction as long as the yellow cross is on top, and we're going to do the lefty algorithm. So let's go ahead and do that. lefty algorithm, you bring up the left side, you turn the top clockwise, bring up the right side, bring the top back counterclockwise, making these pieces flush, bring those down, turn the top clockwise once more, making these pieces flush, bring those down, and then realign your T's so that these top pieces are flush with the centers like so. And then you look around your cube and you can see we now have one corner that's perfectly right. And when you have a good corner, you go ahead and put it on the right side. And you could have this is perfectly right, which is kind of the ideal situation with the mirror cube, because then you really know it's right. You could also have this corner where it's sitting here and it's, you know, it's flipped so that it's sort of jutting out. And there you'd have to eyeball to see, is it the right size for the slot? But when it happens like this is nice, because then you really know you've got the right, a good corner. So with a good corner up here on the right, we're going to do that lefty algorithm one more time. Now you can check and you can see like this, we still have other bad corners, like this cube, this block is way too small for the slot it's sitting in. This block is way too big for the slot it's fitting in. And this one's also too big. So let's go ahead and put that good corner up off to the right, and we're going to do the lefty algorithm again. Bring up the left side, turn the top clockwise, bring up the right side, turn the top back counterclockwise, aligning these pieces so they're flush, bring them down, turn the top clockwise, aligning these pieces so they're flush, bring those down, realign the T's so that these pieces are flush with the center pieces. Okay, now let's check our pieces. We still have, you know, with one good corner, but you can see still this block is way too small for the slot it's sitting in. This one is too small, and this is clearly too big for the slot it's sitting in. So let's do that lefty algorithm again. We bring the good corner off to the right, bring up the left side, turn the top clockwise, bring up the right side, bring the top back counterclockwise, aligning these pieces, bring them down, turn the top clockwise, aligning these pieces, bring those down, realign the T's so that they're flush with the center pieces. And now let's check our corners. And you know how I mentioned that you either have 0, 1, or 4 good corners? Well, now that we have 2 good corners, it means that we, by definition, have all 4 are good corners. And if you look over here, you can see this block looks like it's roughly the right size for the slot it's sitting in, even though it's oriented improperly. And same with this. You can see we've got a block that looks like it fits into that, it would fit into that slot if we reoriented that piece. So we are now done with step 7, and we are ready for step 8 of our solve. Okay, now we are ready for the 8th and final step of solving the mirror cube. This 8th step is identical to the 8th step in solving the 3x3. What we're going to do is put our bad corners off to the right, and then we're going to do the right 180, left 180 algorithm. And so holding our cube with the bad corners off to the right, we're going to bring up the right side, turn the top 180 degrees, bring down the right side, turn the top back 1 rotation counterclockwise, bring up the right side, turn the top counterclockwise once more, and bring down those pieces. And then holding this in position, we're going to do the same kind of the analogous thing on the left side. Bring up the left side, turn the top 180 degrees, bring down the left side, turn the top clockwise, bring back up the left side, turn the top 1 more rotation clockwise. These pieces are flush, bring those down, and we have solved the mirror cube.